thunderstorms.
Certainly, Rhett. We are all crossing our fingers for that. Now, we are still tracking this pretty significant line out to our west, but lots of lightning, just like Brett said. I've been watching this all through the night as it made it from I-30 down to I-20 to where it is now. It has just been moving fast, and look at all of this lightning out of this. One of the main threats that we're tracking with this is lightning. Now, all the lightning strikes that you're seeing on this was in the past 15 minutes or so. This is what's called cloud to ground lightning. You can see just the amount in this little box right here, almost 200 lightning strikes in the past 15 minutes. Remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. Even if you are outside of this lightning or outside of the bulk of the thunderstorm, we can see lightning strikes up to 10 miles outside of the parent storm, so please make sure you're staying weather aware. Severe thunderstorms currently stretching across the areas highlighted in yellow. Previously, just to the west of Palestine, we did have a tornado warning out there a little bit earlier that still started to weaken and break apart, though, as a wall cloud that has since dissipated. Now, the biggest thing with this, gusty winds, hail, like Brett was saying, lots of big raindrops coming out of it. If you're outdoors, I recommend moving inside. Now, this cell right here just toward Rusk, we're keeping a really close eye on this. This one has what's called a tornado possible tag. That means that it could spin out a tornado or two. Can we switch over to, yeah, there we go. This is how we're going to see our wind tracker. We can see which direction the wind is going and if there is any rotation. Now, a little bit of rotation where you see the red and the green. If we could zoom in on that, that'd be great. That's where we're seeing just that slight broad rotation, but not enough to be considered a tornado or even a spin down. We, of course, are going to continue to just keep an eye on this over the next several hours, or the next 30 minutes or so, I believe is how long we're going to stay on air, to make sure that we're not seeing anything else. Now, we did just see it switch from red to green. Nothing to worry about there. We're just pulling off of a different radar site to get a good view of it. Really, we're not seeing any organized rotation, just kind of broad, typical rotation that you see in a thunderstorm like this. Now, can we switch over to see our hail tracker? We've been seeing reports of some pretty significant hail out of this. From the National Weather Service, they were saying hail at about 1/2 inch in size. So that's coming down at the size of pocket change. You can see that hail core starting to pop up right there. If you can match the color, so anywhere between nickel to a quarter. From our radar estimates, maybe even $1/2 for some of the larger hailstones coming out of this. So my friends in Rusk, try to stay indoors until this particular part of the cell passes you by. Let's take a better look to see where we're seeing all of the storms across the Piney Woods. Now, this is where we're seeing the bulk of the hail and a little bit out to the west of Palestine, but really, that's kind of it. Oh, we can get a track on this. See, it's moving between 20 to 30 miles per hour. So my friends in Rusk, that should get to you a little bit before 7:30. So we are giving you about a 20-minute heads up on that. New Salem closer to 8 if it continues to move at the same speed, but it most likely will. We have seen them kind of maintain this 20 to 30 mile per hour speed throughout the entire evening. Now, this is going to continue to move out to the northeast. Again, watch out for the hail, watch out for the lightning. We have seen some gustier winds out of this. I've seen reports of around 40 mile per hour wind gusts during the center of the storms where we're seeing those cores. But again, once you get behind it, you're kind of out of the bulk of it. So for areas toward Tyler, Longview, Gilmer, Canton, there are still some scattered strikes of lightning, but nothing that's necessarily quite as intense as what we're seeing out here from Palestine back toward central Texas and out toward Henderson. Now, really, it's this part of the storm that we're tracking the bulk of, but up to the north, still some heavier pockets of rain. I'm hearing just a little bit of rain on our roof here in Tyler, the CBS19 studio. But still, make sure that you are staying weather aware. If you're planning any your Christmas Eve plans and you are driving out to church or to your family's home, just make sure that you're staying extra weather aware out there. Are we able to switch over to see our rainfall totals from our estimates? We're going to try to get that up. Here we go. We have seen some pretty significant rain come out of this. You can match the color here to your city. The areas in the brighter blues and purples are where we have seen higher rain totals. So back toward Dallas, I'm looking at Willow Park. That's where we received an estimated 4 inches of rain. Toward Henderson, Jacksonville, close to 2, maybe 2.5 inches. So pretty significant rainfall coming out of this. When I was looking at our Texas Mesonet data earlier, this is closer to maybe 3, 4 o'clock. About an inch to 2 inches of rain had fallen north of I-20 at that point. So we're already seeing this continue to move through. Make sure that you, of course, are watching out on those roadways. We have heard some reports of standing water in low-lying areas. So if you see floodwaters, remember to turn around, don't drown. Over half of vehicle deaths that happen during flooding occur because you drive into flooding water. So make sure you're staying weather aware. Once again, those severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for those of you just joining us. One out toward Palestine. If we zoom in, you can see the area that's highlighted in the yellow polygon. This one going all the way through 7:30. A second one out toward Rusk. This one going just till 7:15. We of course are going to continue to stay on there with you, but it's all this big wide line that we're tracking. You can see Brett just put a track on this out toward Rusk. That'll get to you closer to 7:15, and we're talking about the specific line itself. When we tracked it previously, that was the hail core of the storm. So this line moving out to the east-southeast, Mount Enterprise, that should hit you guys closer to 7:30. Crockett around 8. Madisonville a little bit before 8, around 7:50. Make sure you're staying weather aware. Now the gustiest winds will be in this front line of storms, but it's not been quite as gusty as originally we thought. Around 30 miles per hour for many of our East Texas cities. It was more intense out to the west. Now this little cell toward Jacksonville looks like it's almost getting absorbed into this line of storms. That's likely the cold front. So we are watching a cold front. That's what's causing all of this mess that we're seeing on the Christmas Eve night. As that continues to come through, what we're looking for is the cold front to come and undercut these storms. That means that it's going to come through and kind of choke out the energy that it's been feeding off of. Now once the cold front continues to push through, that's going to really diminish the threat of any tornadoes or severe storms that we're seeing. You can see the cold front, Brett, is driving it or dragging it through right there. As it continues to push through, the bulk of it is going to, the worst of the storm, the heaviest rain, the gustiest winds, the biggest hail, all going to be in front of that cold front. But as the cold front continues to push through, the storms behind it will begin to weaken. So it kind of looks like that's already beginning to happen. We'll, of course, continue to bring you the latest and continue to give you the updates. But for those of you just joining us again, lots of storms currently stretching toward Henderson, back towards central Texas, lightning, so a few gusty winds at about 30 miles per hour. We have seen some pocket change sized hail, especially for the areas in these yellow polygons, some decent rain coming out of these. Now, this specific severe thunderstorm warning does have a tornado possible tag. If we switch over to our wind tracker, see if there's any rotation coming out of that. I doubt that there is, but of course we just want to make sure that you are getting the latest data. Any storm reports that we've gotten? Looks like we haven't gotten any.
Yeah.
All right, our CBS19 wind tracker. It does look like we're seeing a little bit of broad scale rotation out there. Is there a possibility that we could click on our Titan indicator, kind of see what we're getting from our radar estimates? Broad scale rotation, if we want to see something that's more tornadic, you have to see much more organized red and green next to each other. This is just too broad to have that real concern at this exact moment. Now it is moving at about 25 miles per hour up to the northeast. Our radar estimates are putting it at about an inch of hail diameter. That's about a quarter size of hail coming through, so a quarter, about pocket change. It is heading up to the northeast. A few gusty winds, heavier rain, but really it's that hail that we've been talking about all week. We're going to put a track on it for you. My friends in Rusk, this cell should get to you closer to 7:30. It looks like we just got a new scan in there, so that's why you saw it move out toward New Salem, closer to 8 or a little bit after 8. You can find your city on there. Just make sure you're staying weather aware and keep up to date with the forecast. Of course, if something worse does pop, we will stay on air with you. We're not going to make you go through it alone, especially on this Christmas Eve night. Oh, we just got a new scan in there. You can see the rotation even less defined than it was before. So I'm feeling more confident that this is just going to continue to move through. The cold front probably coming through and undercutting that. We're looking at this cell over here toward Palestine. This cell was the one that previously had a tornado warning with it. There was a wall cloud that was spotted when it was out to our west, closer to Mejia. That has since dissipated. Now we are just seeing the severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County. This is going through 7:30. Decent sized hail out of this. I believe when I checked with the National Weather Service, that was closer to maybe a quarter of hail coming down. That's where we're seeing the rotation that had previously caused the tornado warning. That's since cleared out. You can see just broad scale rotation. Some gustier winds coming out of the center of that.